Welcome back to the Brackets Bubbles Bid Stealers podcast. This is season 3, episode 4. We did the preseason, we did the night before the season, we did pre-feast week, and now
Post-feast week.
Well,
kind of.
Mostly post-feast week. Okay, so what is the biggest storyline of the week that you think needs to be discussed first?
That the number one team that everyone crowned the greatest team ever in the preseason is a complete fraud, and we knew it all along.
Yeah, I mean, look at them right now. Let's talk about North Carolina, because this is eerily similar to what happened at the start of the season last year, except they just only have played Iowa State instead of playing Purdue and Tennessee.
Yeah.
We could end up getting the Tennessee game today against Alabama.
I think we're going to.
Yeah, and it feels a lot like that. And their ACC Big Ten Challenge isn't the disappointing Michigan. It's Indiana on the road. That's going to be a really tough matchup. So today they play against Alabama, but let's talk about the Iowa State game for North Carolina.
Okay.
You get Armando Bacot only taking 6 field goals.
Okay.
In 37 minutes. Caleb Love shoots 4 for 14. Pete Nance.
That's not an outlier.
It's not. If you look at Caleb Love's stat lines this year, I mean, here, let's find Caleb Love's stat lines so far this season. He has 6 of 12, 8 of 17, 7 of 17, 3 of 11, 10 of 15, 4 of 14. Not horrible.
No, he's actually been shooting the ball fairly well.
He only has had one game where he's shot over 25% from 3. And that was a game where he attempted only 4. He's 1 for 4, 1 for 9, 2 for 8, 1 for 6, 3 for 4, 1 for 7. So far on this season, Caleb Love is 9 for 38 from 3 for 24%.
Not great.
Not great. And you look at North Carolina, where do they even stack up in how they look so far this year? There's definitely been 25 teams better.
Had they won the PK 85 by some miracle with the way they were playing, it would have been the biggest outlier between analytics and where people were voting that we've ever seen. They're 22nd right now in KenPom.
Yeah, because they've fallen
13 spots since the start of the season.
13 spots they've fallen, and they were already pretty low compared to what most people thought, even what I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I had them 4 spots higher in the preseason than where KenPom had them.
Yeah, I had them at number 4, and that was considered very low. And you look right now, and they look like. I mean, I'll be fair to them. The non-conference teams they played, they're actually not bad compared to some of the other teams, but still, they should have comfortably won a lot of those games, and they really didn't. They could have lost to Portland. They really could have.
Their bye games weren't easy, but Charleston did win the Charleston Classic, and Portland is a well-coached team and a good WCC. So
and James Madison looks great as well.
Yeah, so their bye games aren't easy, but it's still games that we shouldn't be sitting here. We're oh, UNC is only up 2 at the half.
Yeah, I mean, UNC is not hitting their threes, 253rd. They're not forcing turnovers, 311th. And overall, they are offensively reliant on getting to the line. Let's not sugarcoat it. I mean, Caleb Love has not been good. Armando Bacot, he's had his games, but he's also had moments where he doesn't look great.
He's certainly not a first-team All-American right now.
No, absolutely not. I mean, he played really well against the College of Charleston. Good for him. But 2 for 9 against Gardner-Webb, and he only took 6 field goals in each of the first 2 games in Portland. I mean, this is a guy that should be. This should be the center of their offense, and he just hasn't been. Only 19.3% of shots for Armando Bacot.
People unanimously picked this guy to win ACC Player of the Year. and I did not pick him to win ACC Player of the Year, but like he's not even playing like an ACC first teamer right now.
No, he's not. And I don't think a lot. I don't think that. I think he's also playing below the level we thought he would play as a
Mhm.
whole. I think that's a problem. Caleb Love hasn't been much worse than we thought. RJ Davis, though, kind of has.
Yeah, and he's done some good things, but like he needs to be better.
Yeah, I mean, RJ Davis is shooting 41% and 27% from three.
Yeah, that's not acceptable. You and I
And
are both very high on him too.
yeah, and I will say I've been impressed by Pete Nance. I think he's been good at times.
Also, like real Pete Nance has been good, but like if you are struggling to hit threes, like why aren't you playing some of these guys on your bench that can shoot?
I
Like
don't.
where is Dontrez Styles
Right now North Carolina 362nd in the country in bench minutes. That's second to last. Guess who's last?
in bench minutes?
Yeah.
If I thought about this, I would know this probably.
Well,
Who is it?
I'm giving you time to think about it.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Oh, Michigan State.
Notre Dame.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, they're not very good.
Notre Dame they're not great. We'll get into them in a little bit because they also had a loss this week. But North Carolina, they play Alabama today, and that's really a mismatch. Alabama looks like a Final Four type team.
Is Alabama favored? They should be.
Yes, I believe they are.
Yep, 1.5 point favorites. That
Yeah, I
adds
mean,
up.
Alabama's looked like a Final Four team. Well, let's not say that they haven't.
Yeah, they're good.
I mean, they just got boat raced by UConn, who's maybe been the most impressive team in college basketball this year, and we'll get into them in a minute. But North Carolina is going to struggle with Alabama, and then North Carolina has to play Indiana, and then they have to play Virginia Tech, and they also have to play Ohio State, and they also have to play Michigan. I mean, Michigan's not great, but I mean, like this is a brutal schedule for them. They could have 3-4 losses before they get into conference play, and actually they could have 4 or 5 losses before they get into conference play. They could lose 5 or 6 games in conference, and they could be 6th seed.
Yeah, I mean, I guess conference play kind of starts next week, but like that doesn't really count. Like,
yeah, but Virginia Tech away is not an easy game.
No, they can absolutely lose that one.
KenPom has Virginia Tech favored by 1.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And Virginia Tech's offense is great. They don't turn the ball over. North Carolina doesn't force turnovers. I mean, this is not the best matchup.
Does KenPom like adjust the overall record that he predicted for teams at the start of the year?
Yeah, but they do that on like that's based on probabilities, not based on like who they have projected to win each game.
Right. Yeah. No, I know that. But like he has North Carolina at 22-9, 14-6 in the league. That would be what they were last year.
Yeah, and they have not beaten. They were 23. They were actually 23-8 last year.
So that one game better.
And 15-5 in the league. And that was a bad ACC, was it? I feel like the ACC. I mean, Virginia's better this year, but that's about it. There were a lot of 100s teams there last year. There's another bunch of 100s teams there this year. But there could even be a 200s team this year.
Louisville?
Yeah. Still winless.
They are 168 right now. They were 124 at the start of the week, just for people wondering.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a really, really... I can't decide, like... Because the ACC, Virginia is better than we thought they would be. But Miami is worse. Duke and Carolina are worse.
Is Miami worse?
Yes.
By what measure?
They got boat raced by Maryland.
Yeah, but Maryland might just be way better than we thought.
No, but like they looked uncomfortable too.
That's true. I just like
Miami's right now 50th in KenPom. We had them on the borderline of the top 30.
Guards versus length on a one-day scout is like always interesting, and it always should favor guards. I feel like.
Yeah, but it really, but at some, well, let's not act. Also, it's not necessarily, is it a full 1-day scout, because that,
It's not. They put him back-to-back days.
yeah, and because
It's not like the
those
second
teams
round where
knew
you get
they,
a day
it's
off.
like those teams knew they would be seeing each other since however long before the season started. They knew
Yeah,
they would, so they
that's
could have
true.
had the time to watch over the.
Yeah, that's true. It's not a full 1-day scout, I
It's a
guess.
different type of 1-day scout.
And it's not like an 8-team tourney where you're not preparing for everyone in an 8-team
Yeah, you
tournament.
can prepare for everybody in a 4-team tournament. Speaking of 4-team tournaments, Virginia has looked great. We obviously talked about them last week. They got
Mhm.
another win against Maryland Eastern Shore on Friday. No one was impressed by it. But let's. But Jaden Gardner took 15 shots in that game.
Ooh.
So Houston last night was not great, but so who do you think has looked like the best team in the country so far?
I still think Houston.
You think
Has looked like the best team in the country, or think is the best team.
who
in
do
the
you think
country?
has looked? Who's been the most impressive team this year?
Texas.
Texas, and
Yeah.
I think I would agree with that, given the fact that they have one of maybe the most impressive win.
Yeah. I mean, it's the way they won.
Yeah, it was the way they won that was the most impressive part. I mean, they were at home, and they annihilated a good Gonzaga team, who then went and did the same thing at Kentucky. And
People are gonna-
Gonzaga, let's talk a little about Gonzaga in their tournament, because
Ooh. It's a touchy subject right now.
yeah, they now have multiple 20-point losses. Well, they're 19 and 18, but they're essentially 20-point losses.
So, I saw something the other day that I think you're probably going to agree with, and I certainly agree with. Tommy Lloyd's not at Gonzaga anymore, and we're starting to see the effects of that.
Okay, back it up.
He was their best recruiter. They're not recruiting as well.
Okay. They're not recruiting as well, yes, but there's no that this team has the talent. The talent is not the excuse.
They should, hypothetically.
They do. They do. And let's not act like Mark Few is some slouch here. He's a hell of a ball coach.
Yeah.
I think the Tommy Lloyd allegations at Gonzaga, I don't agree with that.
But like last year they had a freshman who was probably the best player in the country, and now he's gone. They didn't replace him. Well, I guess they replaced him with Afton Reed, but Afton Reed is not Chet Holmgren.
Of the minutes. Okay, they didn't replace him, and nobody expected them to replace Chet Holmgren. And it honestly felt like Chet Holmgren wasn't. It felt like he was kind of limited in what he could do within the Gonzaga structure.
But he was the best defensive player in the country by country mile.
Yeah, it was him and Walker Kessler. Yeah, they were the best defenders in the country. I do think that, yes, losing him is a problem. And I think defensively, they're just significantly worse. They went from the 10th best defense with the 24th best block rate
46?
to the 46th best defense with the 147th block rate. They went from number 1 in effective field goal defense to 186th.
That's your problem.
Yeah, and that's easy. That's obviously the big issue here. And when they run into when they play Baylor at the Sanford Pentagon in South Dakota,
oh, they're going to give up so many threes.
Yeah, I mean, the 3-point defense is not the issue, but it's not
solving.
It's
anything.
not solving anything either. But I said it's back Gonzaga. They are still Gonzaga. They are still the best team in the WCC by a solid margin. They're still going to run through that conference, and they're still going to get a high seed, and they still will deserve a high seed. Efton Reed.
Yeah, but it's probably not going to be a 1 seed now.
It's probably not going to be a 1 seed. The key for them is get Efton Reed during the conference play. Get him more minutes, get him more experience, and get him ready because right now, do you want to know what Efton Reed's turnover rate is?
I'm gonna guess it's pretty high.
Look at it.
Hold on.
Go look at it. You're gonna laugh.
Oh boy, Afton Reed, where are you? Oh jeez. There he is. 49.8.
Yes.
Oh my god,
That's it's kind of a problem.
that's terrible.
Yeah, he's taken 15 shots. Sorry, he's taken 9 shots so far, and he's taken 9 shots, and he has 10 turnovers.
How is turnover rate measured? Because it's not like
It's like turnovers. It's like turnovers divided by turnovers plus shot attempts plus assists or something like that.
Okay, so it's not just like you go run down the court, you don't turn it over. That's
Yeah, no,
not
that's not. 'Cause
okay.
it has to do with your possessions because it's not. They're
Yeah,
not turning it over 49% of the
right.
time.
No, that's what
And
he's
either way, the problem isn't even that Efton Reed is turning the ball over a lot. It's the problem that he's turning the ball over a lot against freaking North Florida. He
mhm,
he literally played 2 minutes against Kentucky, 7 against Texas, and 2 against and 2 against Purdue.
yeah.
They don't have they're not they they don't have any trust in him, which is the problem. They need to get him ready for March because if he's not playing for them in March and he's not a presence defensively, remember he's a big guy. He's 7 foot 240, and he was 16th in the SEC in block rate last year. It's not like he was. And look, he was a heck of a lot better for LSU than he has been for Gonzaga. And he was not a stud for LSU.
No, but he didn't need to be, and nor does he need to be for this Gonzaga
He
team.
just needs to be a presence defensively.
Hmm. And
All right.
not be a complete disaster on the other end,
Yeah.
which
And
he has been.
let's talk about a guy that we got to give an apology to,
Who?
Zach Edey.
Oh, he's good.
Yeah. MVP of KenPom MVP of all 5 games. 12 and 17, 30 and 11, 20 and 13, 24 and 14, 24 and 12, 23 and 7 in the 5 games so far.
So, like, the reason that I didn't think he was that good is because, like, one, he cannot get on ball screens, which like nobody's really like exposed that yet. So I guess maybe he's gotten a little better on that end. But the other thing was like last year he could not play very much. Like he would get tired
And he would foul out.
and now he doesn't do that.
He's
So
down to 3.3 fouls per 40. He's up to 73.5% of the minutes. He's taking a similar percentage of shots, and he's more efficient.
mhm. And when you when you can actually like stay on the floor and aren't a complete liability in ball screens, like with his physical ability, like numbers are going to skyrocket.
Yeah, and he's a
Efficiency.
heck of and we knew that this. All right, well, when we said he wasn't that good, we didn't mean he's not like a good player. He's
No,
obviously a good
like I
player.
had him as a top 40 player in the
Yeah,
country. I
top
want to
50.
say.
He was a top 50 player in college basketball, but a lot of people had him in the top 10.
Yeah,
I didn't
which
agree with that.
which last year he wasn't.
Last year he wasn't. This year he's maybe been the national player of the year.
Yeah, it's been around that. I'm very interested to see how Duke handles him
And
today.
I'm very interested to see what happens in Big Ten play.
Well,
Because
Big Ten play could be a disaster because now you can just go back to just like like punching and pushing people.
yeah, and we know he got frustrated with the Big Ten refs a lot, and those Big Ten refs are probably among the worst, I would say.
A couple, they are the worst because the like, and like the only way you can tell is like if you watch a Big Ten game, it is officiated differently than other
Yeah,
conferences,
and it leads to just a different brand of basketball in that league.
and it leads to the excuses come NCAA tournament time,
Yep.
which
Um,
I don't buy. But
Purdue has looked like one of the best teams in the country so far.
you know what? Yes, but you know what may have changed this year about the Big Ten? Didn't they
What?
have like 4 officials retire in the offseason?
I don't.
because Borowski retired,
He did?
and yeah,
Great. Awesome. That's the best.
and he was not the only one. There was a couple of them. So I think the Big Ten may have brought in some new officials, which could start to change the way the league is officiated.
I did not see this.
I hope, because I mean, you're just allowed to like beat people up.
Big Ten basketball officials.
I could probably find it for you.
Yeah,
Borowski.
Bo Borowski retired.
Mhm.
That's all I've seen. Anyway, it doesn't
Okay.
matter. We gotta move on. And Purdue's looked great. UConn has looked incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
demolishing everybody. Eighth in KenPom. They're up 20. They're up 19 spots from the preseason. What have you seen out of UConn?
Adama can space the floor for them now.
Yeah, and that's such a key, because I think when you look at what Sanogo is now able to do, and it's not just that he can shoot, because that I mean, even if he couldn't take the three and
He's
make
way
it,
better at everything
it would
offensively.
still be impressive, because he looks like an athlete now.
Hmm.
Adama Sanogo is no longer just uh, a duck in and entry pass big man where he's going to seal his man and hopefully finish. Because this is a guy, remember, you can't remember, this is a guy who struggled with finishing last year. He was barely shooting over 50%, and this and that's like being 6'9", 240 and an elite post threat. He was barely shooting over 50%. This year
Hmm.
he's at 68.1% inside the arc and 54% from three. He's a bully, and he added it's not just the athleticism. He can do a little bit more of everything offensively. It's now the 3-point shot. It's the mid-range shot. Sure, it takes him a while to load up on the three, and once teams scout it out, he probably won't be hitting like he is now. But it'll still be a factor, because they'll have to do something to remove him from his game. They'll have to
Hmm.
play him higher on the court. They'll have to pick him up. They'll have to guard that pick and pop, pick and roll differently, and it'll open up the court for different things. I think against teams that maybe aren't as long as Oregon and Alabama, they could struggle. And UConn has destroyed both Oregon and Alabama.
Yeah.
So I mean,
It feels like he's a better. I don't know what the numbers are to back this up, but it feels like he's a better passer now too.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I think the thing about Adama is he would go into scoring blindness,
Hmm.
where he's always like, you would teach him something and he'll pick it up super easily. He made some really solid reads last year. Like, there was a Butler game, I think it might have been. Yeah, it was a Butler game where he had a couple really solid passes. But outside of that, it was a lot of scoring blindness. Especially you look at the Auburn game. He took 25 shots against Auburn. He took 17 against St. John's, and it would work. He was very good in these games, but 8 turnovers against Auburn, 6 against Marquette, 5 against Georgetown. He only turned the ball over once against New Mexico State, but he also just didn't have a great game there. This year, I think he's just a lot less prone to bad games.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, you guys are on pace for like a 2 or 1 seed right now.
And it's not just Adama Sanogo that's been better. Jordan Hawkins defensively, I want to talk about him, because he's 6'5", and last year he looked like he was like 6'4". This year he looks like he's 6'7".
Hmm.
Jordan Hawkins is playing incredibly long, and he took and he's taking threes, and he's able to make the threes. And this is a guy that last year he took 81 threes in 27 games. This year he's taken 41 threes in 5 games.
41 and 5. Jeez, that's a lot.
Yeah, and he's hitting them at 39% efficiency.
Yeah.
I mean, I did not expect him to be a spot up and shoot type guy. He's only taken 15 twos.
Yeah. The development that your guys' staff did in the offseason has been just nothing short of incredible.
The only guy that I feel like the only guy that I think haven't gotten better,
Jackson?
Jackson and Aline.
Aline was always just going to be like a 3-and-D spot up
And he
shooting
hasn't
kind of
even
guy.
really been great at that.
No.
Aline has probably been the disappointment, but it doesn't matter because Joey Calcaterra is a thing.
Joey's been legit.
I mean, this is a guy who he's shooting 61% from 3 right now.
Yeah.
When he's on the court, UConn has a 128.5 offensive rating. And Joey Calcaterra, he's been just so much better than you could have imagined. And this team, it's big. It's really big. Tristan Newton is a 6'5" point guard, and he can shoot, and he can space, and he can pass, and he can do everything. Andre Jackson is a 6'6" guy. Jordan Hawkins is 6'5", and he plays bigger than that. Alex Caravan is 6'8", and he's been incredible on defense, and he can shoot. Donovan Clingan.
Yeah, I was going to say Donovan.
I mean, Donovan Clingan's 7'2", 265. He's one of the biggest players in college basketball. And he has an 18% block rate.
Everything's going well.
Everything has clicked for UConn except Andre Jackson's three-point shot and Naheem Aline's three-point shot. I would say, but Andre has also been coming back from the injury. He'll be fine. And also Samson Johnson is hurt, and we thought we would see growth from him this year. He only played 17 minutes of that first game before he got hurt, but he had 7 points on 2 of 2 and 3 of 3. So, I mean, pretty good start. But Tristan Newton, I mean, when Tristan Newton didn't have his best game against, he had an incredible game against Oregon, and it wasn't really Sonogo's best night. And then Sonogo struggled in the first half against Alabama, and Newton struggled the whole way. But Hawkins was hitting shots. Calcaterra played well, and then Sonogo took over the second half.
Yeah.
Forced 21 turnovers from Alabama.
That seems like a Nate Oates thing to do.
And Alabama's looked great. Brandon Miller looks like one of the best players in the
They're
country.
really good.
Yeah, Brandon Miller has been incredibly good. Let's talk about him.
Top 5 freshmen in the country right now.
Are we sure it's that low?
Top 3?
Are we sure it's not literally number 1?
It could be 1. Like
who's been better?
He's number 6 right now in KenPom National Player of the Year.
And who are the guys ahead of him? Like Edey, Jalen Wilson, Drew Timme,
Edey,
Marcus
Wilson,
Sasser, and
Filipowski. So yeah. Filipowski's been the best freshman.
Okay, according to that metric, by a small amount, and I don't even think that's a great metric. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, by 0.28.
Yeah, and so Brandon Miller, he's arguably been the best freshman in the country. I mean, here, I'm gonna go to Torvik and sort some stats by freshman because I know I can do that.
It's a benefit of Torvik.
Yes, and it's free as well. Brandon Miller leads all freshmen in scoring. He's 3rd in rebounding. He's number 1 in their impact stat. Number 1 in box plus minus. He's not number 1 in offensive rating, but he's number 4, and he has a significantly higher usage rate than anybody else that's higher than him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's attempting a bunch of threes. He's hitting his threes. He's not high in assists, but look, he's probably been the best. He's probably been the best freshman in the country.
I think that's fair to say.
I mean, the best so far have probably been Brandon Miller, Filipowski, Grady Dick.
How's Jarris been?
I haven't really watched much of him. I would say
one of the Purdue kids, Braden Smith.
Yeah, maybe him. Keontae George, maybe.
Yeah.
Anthony Black.
Oh, and what's his name? Sensabaugh.
Sensabaugh. And Taylor Hendricks.
Yeah,
and Mintz has been great.
Mintz. Has Jet still been good? Jet had a really good start.
Yeah, Jet had a great start, and yeah, I guess he's been pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't played in a while. They played on the 23rd.
Yeah, they played Ohio.
They played Jackson State.
They played Ohio last weekend then.
Yeah, and then they played Jackson State after that. What other teams do we need to talk about? Actually, what other competitions do we need to talk about? Oh man, we need to talk about Dayton.
Oh, yeah, that's a touchy subject.
Are they the most disappointing team in the country?
Yeah.
I mean, I think they have to be. This is 3 losses in Atlantis for a team that I predicted that would win Atlantis.
Yeah.
What's been the problem?
None of the guys that we thought were gonna take a leap have.
Yep. The problem is they can't shoot. Kobe Elvis was one of their best shooters last year. He was excellent shooting the ball in A10 play. He's 9 for 35.
Mm-hmm.
Tumani Kamara was 34% last year, 1 for 15.
Malley's played in 4 games and hasn't hit a 3.
Yeah, Malachi Smith has not hit a single 3. He shot 40% last year. Kobe Brea, who shot 43% last year from 3, including 49% in conference play.
2 for 7 in Barry.
One game. Mongolian Mike has been great though.
Yeah, he is the lone bright spot.
Right but now. Against UNLV, 4 fouls. He was good in that game though. Against Wisconsin, 13 minutes, no points. Against NC State, 27 minutes, 5 points. He was kind of doing nothing for most of Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this team is still so raw, and they're still young. Like, they're still all sophomores.
Yeah, and maybe they figure it out just like they did last year.
But... I still think this is a team that has the talent to go to the tournament.
Well, I mean, considering the A10 looks like a 1-bid league right now, all they got to do is win it.
It's not going to be a 1-bid league. I guarantee you that.
I doubt it, but
there's going to be 2 teams from the A10 that get in.
There's only one team playing right now, like a tournament team.
Yeah, and St. Louis definitely looks like the
yeah,
team.
And even they look like a little shaky.
And Davidson's 6-1. But
yeah,
they did get run.
They haven't looked great.
Davidson got run by Charleston. And they've won a bunch of close games, but they've won close games against good teams.
Yeah.
Like Wright State on the road, like true road game.
They beat San Francisco the other day.
Like true road game, Wright State is a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
And they won that game. They were down by 21, and they won that game. They beat ODU. They beat South Carolina. They beat San Francisco. Davidson's going to be solid. It's definitely solid. Foster Lawyer's been great, but outside of that, they really don't have a lot of shooters, which is kind of odd because they had so many last year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happens when you lose guys like Lee, Jones, Breakovich. They're all gone now.
Has Foster still been doing his thing?
Yes, I just said he's been doing his thing. He's been one of the best players in the country.
Sorry, I missed that.
I mean, what is he averaging right now? He's averaging 22, 6, and 5. 23, 6, and 5.
57th in the country in possession usage as well.
Yeah, he's been excellent. I think for Davidson, they look good, but not great. St. Bonaventure, I think, looks better than they did 2 weeks ago. I mean, they had the loss to Canisius, but outside of that, they played a really close game at Sanford Pentagon against South Dakota State, a game they probably could have won.
They just handled Notre Dame.
They handled Notre Dame. And
they handled Southern Indiana, who's not terrible either.
Yeah, and so Bonaventure, they have a tough schedule, but I mean, there's a realistic possibility that they could win their next 6 games. It's not a high chance, but it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
I think the A10 overall, though, kind of looks disappointing. Duquesne, though.
Yeah, you ragged on them at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I didn't like the KenPom ranking of 138,
Now
but
118.
they're 5-1. Their only loss was at Rupp. They've taken care of the ball. They've gotten offensive boards. They've hit their threes. Day Grant has been very good.
They got a tough one on Tuesday.
Yeah, Santa Barbara's a good team.
Mm-hmm.
AJ Mitchell is one heck of a ball player.
So yeah, they could have some quality opportunities coming up for sure.
Yeah. Talk about the Arizona and how Arizona is incredible and how I was right about them.
Yeah, I forget where I had them in the preseason. I want to say
I had them at like 11 or like 10.
I had them at like 13 or 12.
But the second I saw them play, I knew that they were really, really good.
System.
The system, man. Tommy Lloyd. I know we talked about him, and I think the Tommy Lloyd allegations at Gonzaga are not found in anything, but what he's doing at Arizona is incredible.
Number 1 in adjusted tempo, number 3 in adjusted offense.
They're shooting 45% from 3. They're shooting 67% from inside.
That's not sustainable.
Is it sustainable? No. But are they still going to be one of the best offenses in the country?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I mean, you look at some of the top offenses in the country, like they're like, you look at raw offensive efficiency, like is Baylor having a 126 sustainable? Of course not.
Yeah.
Like, but Arizona is at a raw 80 possessions per game.
That's ridiculous.
To everybody has taken the next step there.
Yeah.
Azuolas Tubelis, I didn't think he was a superstar. I thought he was.
You were not as high on him as I was.
Yeah,
I
and
picked him to win Pac-12 Player of the Year.
I picked Will Richardson, which looks really, really, really bad right now.
He is just awful.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And it's not just Tubelis right now, who's averaging 19 and 8. Umar Ballo is averaging 19 and 10. Courtney Ramey is averaging 16, 5 and 3. Kirk Kriisa is averaging 7.5 assists and 15
Yeah,
points.
Kriisa I've been extremely impressed with.
Kriisa has taken the next step. Pell Larson has taken the next step. Cedric Henderson's been good. And again, I said this, we haven't even seen the best out of high-ranking guys like Kylan Boswell and a guy like Adama Bal and a guy like Henri Visar. I think there's
the one critique you could have of Arizona right now is their bench hasn't been great, but their bench was fine in Maui. It did enough.
And I think their bench is also untapped. I think Kylan Boswell is what wasn't he? Wasn't he a 5-star?
He was either low 5 or high 4.
I mean that's totally comfortable off the bench.
He's a reclass guard though, so we'll see.
Visar has potential. He's just been kind of rough so far. And Adama Bal has potential.
Yeah.
I think Arizona.
No, I like Bal a ton. I'm just not sure he's ready.
I mean, but does he need to be ready? They have Ballo.
No.
I mean, Umar Ballo has looked like one of the best bigs in college basketball. He's 7 feet 260, and it's a goal for Croatia. Anyway, Kriisa has taken a step from good point guard, but obvious flaws, into one of the best guards in the country.
Yes.
And I didn't even see that coming. Arizona is the anti-Dayton. Everything's gone right for them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about some more teams where maybe it hasn't all gone so right.
Auburn, even though they're 6-0.
Auburn's 6-0.
It's the worst 6-0 in the country.
I don't know about that.
Dude, they put a 1-point game with Northwestern in the 40s. The low 40s, mind you.
Southern Miss is 6-0.
Southern Miss has... they're 193 in KenPom.
Yes. I'll say Auburn has not been impressive, but they have not been horrible. Today is their biggest
They're
test.
good. They're good defensively.
Auburn's great defensively, which is good for them because we weren't quite sure how they would be without Kessler. But Broom
They
is
still
great,
jack shots.
and that's even with Johan Traore being just not good so far.
Yeah, no, he hasn't been fantastic.
He hasn't been good. He's only played 40% of minutes. He's only had double-digit points once.
The
He's-
the one guy I've been impressed with that's kind of taken the next step for them is Jalen Williams.
Yes, Jalen Williams has definitely been impressive. And I mean, look, year 4 for him. And he's definitely looking better. He's shooting the ball with more confidence. He's been a key piece of that defense too. He's getting blocks. He's getting blocks and steals.
Mhm.
He's passing well.
By the way, though, Katie Johnson, 101.9 offensive rating. Wendell Green, 99.9 offensive rating. Zep Jasper, 88.2 offensive rating.
I think it's good that Zep Jasper though is playing fewer minutes, but he's taking more shots in those minutes.
Yeah, that's good. It means he can spend more time interacting on Twitter with me.
Yes.
Calling
they
me an
play-
Auburn hater, which I am.
They play St. Louis today, and
So it'll be fast paced.
the problem here is that this game is
If St. Louis can get them in a fast paced game and Auburn can start jacking shots, that's the problem.
yes, and some of these games Auburn's going to hit those shots.
Yeah, some of them they will.
Some of those games they're going to hit shots. Like
Will they today?
against Bradley, they when they shot 60% from the field and something like that, they hit those shots. But against Northwestern, 5 of 21, 8 for 29. I mean, they rebounded well in that game. I'll give them that. But like
Northwestern's not big, so like they should.
Northwestern's not big.
Northwestern's actually very small. They like to switch a lot.
Yeah, Northwestern's not that small. They just play smaller than they are.
That's true because like they do like to switch switch screens and just put guys out there that can guard.
But I've also been impressed just straight up by Northwestern, especially on the defense.
They've been a really good defensive team so far.
Yeah, I mean Chris Collins,
49th in KenPom.
We talked a little bit of shit about Chris Collins, but if there's one thing Chris Collins doesn't know how to do, it's he knows how to create defense.
Mm-hmm. I like Chris. I always have liked him, and I don't think
good guy, hard job.
Yeah,
maybe,
no.
I was thinking maybe it's time to move on.
The one thing that I will always say about Chris Collins and Northwestern is if he is gone, I don't know how you're getting somebody that's better than him.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but maybe like it would be time for a fresh start, and that's what I was thinking. Maybe if it doesn't go well, it's time for a fresh start. It's gone well. They're 5-1, and they comfortably beat Georgetown away, which obviously is not difficult to do, but like they beat Liberty.
Yeah, well, they got Pitt this week at home, then they go on the road to start Big Ten play, at Michigan State. But like, if they can get past this next stretch, like with their solo loss being to Michigan State and
Auburn
and be like 10-2 going into conference play.
Yeah, I mean, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 10-2. 10-2 going into conference play, and you're putting yourself in position to be a bubble team.
Yeah, that would be ideal.
You're putting yourself in the position that Texas A&M and Wake Forest put themselves in last year, which, yeah, that didn't go well for them in the end, but they put themselves in position.
The other bad thing about Northwestern is like they have the worst home court advantage in high major basketball, and I'm not sure it's even close. Like, first of all, Chicago is in like the middle of like every Big Ten school except for those East Coast schools. So like, when Northwestern plays a home game, it is usually like 60-70% the away team's fans.
Yeah.
Like I went when they played Michigan State last year. It was 75% Michigan State fans.
Yeah, and like that's the difference. Like it's not even a home court advantage; it's a home court disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's what separates it from teams like Cal and Stanford who just don't draw.
Right.
It's what separates it from like Vandy and Cal, Stanford, who just
Who
don't
just
draw
don't
fans.
get fans, period.
Yeah, they get fans of the other team,
Hmm.
and that's what's disappointing about this because the rest of the Big Ten schools are great at drawing crowds. Big Ten probably one of the most well-attended leagues in the country, and they have
Yeah.
and Big Ten fills big arenas like Wisconsin's a huge arena and they
Mhm.
fill it. Michigan's a huge arena, they fill it. Michigan State's a huge arena, they fill it.
Right.
Yeah, and like I think overall Northwestern looked better than we thought. We talked about Kentucky last week, and they haven't really done anything. They played North Florida, which doesn't matter. We talked about. Have we talked about Creighton yet?
We've not. They're
You
still
want to?
top 5 team after that.
Yeah. The loss to Arizona. I mean, was it really even a loss? Like they that if we see Creighton, Arizona, Arkansas, and San Diego State in the Final Four, would you even be disappointed?
No.
I mean, that would be an unbelievable Final Four.
Hmm.
And I mean, not to mention Ohio State has impressed me. Texas Tech maybe not great so far, but they can still defend. They're still without Fardaws Aimaq, and they will be for a while. And Bacho has been impressive. So I think, and although Texas Tech kind of has a weak schedule up until conference play,
They kind of need it without Amok.
they'll win every game until conference play. They'll be 10-2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they'll be 10 and they'll be 10-2 going into the TCU game.
They don't play anybody else.
They play Georgetown.
Oh Jesus! Like they played in the Jimmy V Classic last year, so like I guess like
Yeah, and they played Maui this year, obviously. So they can afford an easier non-conference because they played such a hard MTE and they play such a difficult conference
yeah,
that they're not going to be in tournament question mark territory anyway.
right. TCU beat Iowa last night, handily.
Yeah, TCU. Let's talk about TCU here because they have looked a ton better in the last 3 games than the first 3.
You don't give up on a team 3 games into a season.
Yep, you don't give up on the team when Mike Miles isn't playing. And then
Or
Miles
Damian Baugh. By the way, they didn't have Baugh or Miller last night.
Yeah, and look what happens last night. Mike Miles, the first 2 games of this tournament, 23 points, 15 points. And he's not even shooting well yet. Wait until he gets amped up for these games and he's shooting well. I know Cal is bad, but I was good. That's a big win.
And they jumped all the way up to like I want to say 39.
39, and they held Chris Murray to 11 points on 4 of 14. They only let him get to the line for 2 shots. Chris Murray, though, he's been great. I think he definitely deserves a ton of credit for how good he's been this year. But
that might be the lowest anyone holds Chris Murray for like the rest of the year.
I mean, Clemson held them to 10 on 4 of 17. So I mean,
it's just Shaheen's defense, I guess.
He had a rough go of things in where was that, Fort Myers?
It was somewhere in Florida.
Northwest Florida State, Niceville, which is near Destin. Do you know where that is?
No, and I'm pretty familiar with Florida geography.
On the Panhandle. It's in between Tallahassee and Pensacola, a little bit closer to Pensacola.
Two terrible places I've heard.
Yep, awful. Anyway. So what do we think about Indiana?
Way better than I thought they would be.
I don't think I can say anything about Indiana yet because
They haven't played anyone except for Xavier.
I just think they're moving up the rankings just as a site of they haven't had really chances to blow it yet. So I still don't think they've fully defeated the same team as last year. Allegations.
They won at Xavier though.
I mean, they had that win against St. John's last year. I mean, obviously Xavier's better than St. John's.
Way better.
But like, they beat Purdue last year. They've by same team as last year. I obviously don't mean 48th in KenPom. I mean just like they haven't like nobody. I can't say that they look significantly better than last year yet.
Okay.
And I want to like this Indiana team. I want to like Trace Jackson Davis. I want and I like Jalen Hood-Schifino, but he's straight up been bad.
Yeah, he's not what people told me. You know, like I went the entire offseason like hearing about these freshmen, and like all of a sudden, like a week and a half, week before the season, I start hearing, oh, Jalen Hood-Schifino, he's gonna be so good.
I was saying that all offseason.
What? Because he was good in their like red-white scrimmage? Like
I was saying it all offseason, okay?
Jalen Hood-Schifino?
Yes.
I had him in like the 20s in my.
I had him at like 12.
Yeah, that was too high.
Well, I mean, I liked him a lot, and Dominic Welch is out today against North Carolina, so still out. Dominic Welch
He has not played. So
yeah. So the Bonnie's transfers. I mean, Florida. What do we think about Florida?
I was kind of impressed against Xavier.
I was not necessarily impressed.
I thought they looked better.
I thought I was impressed. The team who I was impressed by in that game was Xavier.
They need to beat West Virginia today.
I think Xavier really impressed me in that game.
Xavier's good.
Yeah, Xavier's good. And
I had Xavier easily in my top 25 in the start.
I had them at like 27, I think.
I had them at 21. They were there was never a question of me moving them out of the top 25.
Well, when Fremantle had that suspension.
I kept them in the spot. I kept them at 21. I'm like, I don't know if they could play. Like, this could be a one day.
You get my point. But like, we didn't know how long the suspension was,
or what it was for, or anything about it.
Jack Nunge, though, I want to talk about the Big East because last year it was all about Big Ten big men. This year it feels like it's all about Big East.
Big East big men.
Because Jack Nunge looks just straight up better.
Yeah,
this is a guy who last year, yes, he averaged 13 and 7, and he looked good. But I mean, I think this year he's just taken a step, even though his numbers are down in shooting percentages. It's watching him; he's been better.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just Jack Nunge. We obviously got into Adama Sanogo, but Eric Dixon. Like, what's gotten into Eric Dixon?
How many threes did he take against Iowa State?
9 or something.
Nova's playing for 7th place today in that invitation.
And Eric Dixon is hitting threes. He's shooting 38% on 5 attempts a game. And he's averaging 18 and 7. Like, Eric Dixon's been good. And it's not just Eric Dixon. Have you watched Joel Soriano this year?
I've heard about him. I have not watched St. John's yet.
I watched them yesterday against Niagara in person.
Are they undefeated still?
Yeah, they're still undefeated.
Oh, jeez.
Now, it wasn't a great performance for the team. They only won by 8.
7-0.
But Soriano, 21 and 19. He's a beast. He's averaging 15 and 13.
Yeah, he's been.
He looks like one of the best. He looks like one of the best bigs in the country. There's so many good bigs in the Big East this year. I mean,
Soriano's been great defensively too.
I mean, even Qudus Wahab's come back to Georgetown and he's averaging 13 and 7. The Big East is a haven right now, and we haven't even talked about the guy who was my preseason player of the year, Ryan Kalkbrenner, who's now Shooting threes much better. He hit 3 all of last year. He's already hit 3 this year.
He got kind of whacked around by Umar Ballo in that championship.
Let's hand it to him though
He didn't
for
look right. He didn't look right.
for
He looked like he was sick or
for an
something.
incredibly impressive performance that he had against Arkansas, where he had 21 points on 9 of 12 with 2 blocks in 38 minutes against a really tough Arkansas team that was very athletic. I mean, Mekhi Mitchell and the Mitchell twins are getting minutes at Arkansas. Like, interesting.
We talked about this last week.
Yeah, we did. But
we're still surprised by it.
Here's the problem. Like, here's the thing about Arkansas. Like, who's like, is Ricky Council really gonna like? He's not gonna take 15 shots a game.
No, but Nick's not playing right now.
I mean, Ricky Council took 9 shots a game last year for Wichita State.
A poorly coached Wichita State, I should tell you.
Yeah, but
maybe Muss saw something that good old Isaac Brown could.
But hey, let's talk about one of the players from that team last year,
Morris Udeze. Don't even get me started.
And how well he's doing this year, Morris Udeze.
Hey, I look good on a lot of these over-unders right now, so I don't want to hear it.
What did you say?
I look good on a lot of these over-unders right now, so don't get me started.
Hey, I got you on Castleton right now. I got you on Udeze.
You have me on like all of them except for Marcus Hammond, who hasn't played.
Hammond hasn't played. Henry Coleman, what an impressive performance.
If Marcus Hammond is not eligible to like be on a lot of these lists, like I win.
No, if the guy doesn't play, then the bet is void.
Is he hurt?
Yeah, he's hurt.
Well, he's gonna be back eventually.
Yeah, and I think he was supposed to play yesterday.
Oh man,
he didn't. He ended up not playing.
Coleman has been terrible. I think Hickman's gonna start scoring more.
Maybe, but yeah, you look good on a lot of the team over unders.
Yeah,
but I think I look good on the Illinois Michigan one.
Like Illinois State. Did you watch that team play in the Cayman Islands tournament? They were dreadful.
Yeah, they looked bad. But Oregon State.
Oh my god, dude.
Siena.
They're not. Oh, do they play Cal twice?
Oregon State.
Siena looks good too.
Siena looks good
because yeah, they need to lose today.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough MTE, but they got to win against Florida State, and I think we all had them marked down as they're not winning a single game in that MTE.
Oregon State is now a projected 1-point winner over Portland State today.
I mean, you look at
who they lost to by 13.
And Siena blew a lead against Army. They blew a lead against Harvard. They're not far from 5-1.
By the way, Ken Baum now projects Oregon State as a 3-point winner over Cal in the last game of the regular season. I'm gonna lose that one easily.
Imagine if it comes down to that.
Hey, I got a lean on it, so or I got odds on it. So
yeah, you did. You did get odds. I forgot about that. But either way,
yeah, they're gonna win. Who do they play to start conference play?
I think it's Utah.
Oh, they play Utah.
Well, okay, but Utah's actually looked solid.
Utah hasn't been terrible, so.
They also play Washington they play Washington on Thursday.
Washington's good though.
Yeah, but they lost to Cal Baptist.
Washington?
Yeah, they did beat St. Mary's.
They also beat St. Mary's.
What do we think about St. Mary's? Because they have some tough games coming up. San Diego State, Houston, New Mexico.
I still think they're good. Like they started with a really tough run of games, and it was going to catch up to them eventually.
And they won their first 6 against good teams.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Southern's not good, but Southern's not bad.
Like they have New Mexico on Wednesday, which is a quality opponent.
Yeah, that's a quality team. They're 5-0.
And then Houston, which should be the just most miserable game of the century to watch.
Yeah, I mean Houston. They didn't look good against Kent State. They didn't.
That was bad, but they also didn't move down in Ken Baum at all.
Yeah. I will say I think I was impressed. I've been impressed by Ohio. I've been impressed by Ohio State.
Yeah.
They're better than I thought they would be.
Their freshman class is really good.
Sensabaugh is good. The freshmen, as we said, they're good. Although I still want to see like what happens when we get into Big Ten play. Like, is Sensabaugh going to rise like Malachi Branham, or is he going to, or what's it going to end up turning into? Because
Yeah.
that's a big part of their season right there, and they still don't have EJ Liddell. Like, that's still a huge problem.
Mm-hmm.
And Zed Key looks better, but he also still has games where he kind of goes away. He's still not.
It's Zed Key. Like,
it's Zed Key, and Justice Sueing is still Justice Sueing. I'm not gonna say he's a great player just because
high volume Justice Sueing.
But yeah, high volume Justice Sueing. I don't know if that's necessarily a great thing.
No.
I know it worked really, really well against Texas Tech, but it didn't work against San Diego State. It didn't work against Eastern Illinois. It didn't work against Charleston Southern. It didn't work against Cincinnati. I mean, Justice Sueing, we'll have to wait and see on him. I mean, he's 3 for 21 from 3 this year.
Yeah, not great.
Tennessee, what do you think?
Still really good.
Yeah, I think that loss to Colorado.
Was never worried. Actually, I kind of was, and I always am worried about Tennessee, but for reasons not related to any of the players.
I still think I'm worried about just like I don't think that they have a tournament and I don't think their defense is the number 1 defense in the country like it's been in KenPom. I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I will never say that the defense with a 5'9" point guard is the
They also just don't have a very good basketball coach. Yeah.
And I just
he develops well. He recruits well.
No, they're 262nd in effective field goal percentage and 294th in turnover rate.
That's not good.
Yeah, offensively, like that entire Atlantis as a whole was just a bad tournament.
They beat one-dimensional Kansas.
Atlantis as a whole, though, was just a bad tournament to watch.
I mean, when you have this is what I said all week. When you have the tournaments in Portland, there's only a certain amount of teams you can choose from.
Yeah, and the tournaments in Portland were all the best Nike schools in the country.
And Maui was really good. So, like, how many did you really have?
But we thought Atlantis would be better. We thought Atlantis would be better.
Dayton wasn't great.
Dayton looked bad. Kansas looked bad. Tennessee looked meh. Wisconsin, though, I was impressed.
Yeah, USC, I like this Wisconsin team a lot more than I did last year.
I like this Wisconsin team a lot more than I thought I would. And even with Chucky Hepburn really not playing well yet, he played well yesterday, but just overall not great.
Connor Essegian.
Essegian, isn't it Essegian?
I thought it was Essegian.
I don't know. I'm just however it's pronounced. Dude, that's a dude.
Yeah, he's a baller.
I mean, Brad Davison gone. They just bring in a guy that shoots better than Brad Davison.
He is way better than Brad Davison is.
Yeah, but like white. So I'm gonna. So that's
Tyler Wall is like way better.
Yeah. Steven Crowell is a better defensive player.
Yeah, Crowell's taking a step for sure.
Not offensively. He's still pretty bad on that end.
His threes still look like they're gonna hit the back of the rim every single time.
I mean, Steven Crowell moves like Zach Edey, but 4 inches shorter.
Yeah,
and that's not a compliment.
And like tries being a pick and pop player.
Yeah, like he's like if you took Zach Edey and just made him bad at basketball.
Oh my god!
And we still really haven't seen much out of Max Klesmit. I wonder if he's going to end up taking more shots.
73 offensive rating. Or no, that's minutes. Sorry. He 111 offensive rating. That's actually not bad, but he just like
they
10% of possessions.
They cannot score inside the arc. But they can defend.
I mean,
they are so obviously flawed.
But like I'm here for it because they have Connor Essegian.
Like this Wisconsin team, I'm here for them to finish 5th. You know, like I'm here for that. You know,
I hate Wisconsin sports usually, so like
I'm not a big I don't like Wisconsin. Like I'm not gonna say I like Wisconsin. I don't like Wisconsin. I don't like the Big Ten. There's not many teams in the Big Ten that I actually like.
That's fair. I mean, I'm in the heart of it, so
But I look at these Big Ten schools and I see a lot of teams that can finish 5th, a lot of teams that can finish 3rd.
It sounds like a lot of first weekend exits, Sam.
I don't see a lot of teams that. Yeah, like again, I'm gonna say that again. Like the Big Ten has looked good so far,
Juwan Howard will find his way into the second weekend.
but do we think Purdue is a second weekend team?
Mm.
Do we think Iowa is a second weekend team?
No, but when does any like I guess last year, but like nobody
Do we
usually
think
thinks.
Maryland is a second weekend team?
See, they could be.
They honestly, Maryland is probably right now the team that I have the most faith in for an NCAA tournament run out of that league.
Because Maryland and like this isn't like accredited to them being soft like usual Maryland is, but like
They're not soft.
no, but they were under Turgeon all
They're
the
not
time.
soft now, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and like
they're playing like
because like Maryland has NBA guys.
yeah, they're playing like they look like
Reese is an NBA guy.
yes, Reese is an NBA guy. Donta Scott's been great. Jameer Young's been meh. I mean, Hakeem Hart. Let's talk about Hakeem
unreal.
Hart. I mean, even Ian Martinez has looked solid.
I just like it because like they don't play. Their actual like players aren't super big, but they play super big.
Yes, because they play a lot of bigger guys, but not a lot of like massive guys.
Yeah,
Like Donta Scott and Julian Reese are both 230. Like they're big dudes, and they are good players. They are great players, honestly. The way they've been playing this year, they feel like they were getting what they wanted with ease. And they will go into that Illinois game undefeated. And that's going to be Friday night, and that's going to be a massive game.
Indeed, it will be.
It'll be sold out College Park. I mean, we got Gonzaga, Baylor that day, and we got Illinois, Maryland. All right, here's another question. What mid-major teams have you been impressed by?
Drake.
I mean, okay, but we talked about them already.
Okay. Sam Houston State.
Yes. Sam Houston State is 6-0. They beat Utah. They beat Oklahoma, both on the road. They won their MTE. They beat South Dakota and Northern Illinois. They go to Nevada tomorrow. That's going to be a notable game. Nevada is 6-1 with their only loss being overtime to. Oh man, we forgot to talk about Kansas State.
Oh, they're good.
They are a tournament team.
They could make the tournament for sure.
They are a borderline. They are a bubble team. And let's not count out the possibility that they are undefeated going into that West Virginia game on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, I mean it's literally they just got to win tomorrow.
And that's putting themselves
on Wednesday.
That's putting themselves in position to be in position. Like don't finish last in the Big 12 and they'll make the tournament. If they go go.
I feel like a lot of the lower teams in the Big
go 5-13.
Like the lower teams in the Big 12 are better than we thought they would be.
Yeah,
West Virginia.
Go 5-13. Go 5-13. Beat Florida. Like go undefeated in non-conference, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 13-0. Go 5-13. So you're 18-13. Win a game in the Big 12 tournament. 19-14. That'll get them an 11 seed.
Yeah.
If they get one big win in the Big 12.
West Virginia is solid. And so is Iowa State.
And we still haven't seen West Virginia with Jose.
Yeah, that's true. And then you have Iowa State. Like, could we just put all 10 of those teams in the tournament?
I want to. I really want to. And I mean, like, even Oklahoma, who lost to Sam Houston State, that loss doesn't look bad because they come out and they beat Seton Hall. They beat Nebraska. They beat South Alabama and UNC Wilmington. And now they have Ole Miss today, and they're probably going to win that game. I mean, Oklahoma, Oklahoma's going to beat Villanova. I mean,
hold on, look, I'm campaigning for us right now.
I mean, look, Oklahoma has a better basketball coach than Villanova. Like, they do. Out of all the teams in the Big 12, Oklahoma has one of the very best basketball coaches.
I agree.
Like, Porter Moser is
Sure.
very much on the same tier.
Yeah, I mean, they're
as
playing
Chris
for
Beard, as Mark Adams, as Jamie Dixon.
they're playing for the ESPN Events Invitational Championship today.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Oklahoma. Porter Moser is one of the best coaches in the country. In the Big 12 this year, the losses: Baylor lost to Virginia, Kansas lost to Tennessee, Texas Tech lost to Ohio State and San Diego State, I think, or was that what it was? No, Ohio State and Creighton.
Mhm.
Oklahoma lost to Sam Houston State. Oklahoma State lost to Southern Illinois and UCF. Those are bad losses. Well, not really. Those are good teams, but like not losses. Those games you should be winning. West Virginia lost to Purdue. Okay, good. Go ahead. TCU. Like there's only one truly bad loss in the league, and that's TCU.
Yeah, who we still think is really good.
I don't think there's a bad, like, there's 10 tournament teams. Like, if there's a team that I've been the least impressed by, who would it be? Oklahoma State?
Yeah, that's probably it.
Like, I just don't think Musa Cisse has been as impressive as I thought he was going to be, even though he's blocking everything. He hasn't really taken a step offensively. It doesn't feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he's kind of like pre-breakout guys. Like, he still feels like he's pre-breakout. But he's a junior now. So it's kind of a problem.
There's not much time left.
Like the comparable players for this year's Musa Cisse: 2021 Manny Bates, 2021 Christian Coloco, 2020 Oshun. Like those are all pre-breakout guys. Like he still very much feels like a pre-breakout guy when I watch him. The breakout hasn't come yet. But their losses, like
Oklahoma State also
their losses, like they shot 2 for 20 from 3 against UCF, lost by 4 in overtime, and they shot 4 of 16 from 3 against Southern Illinois and lost by 1. Yeah, they can't shoot. They can't shoot. That's their issue. That's why I think they're the worst team in the Big 12.
It's also just possible that they have the worst coach in the league.
Is Mike Boynton even a bad coach? Like,
no, he's not. But it's possible they have the worst coach in the league.
Yeah, I know. Like,
I would say it's Huggins.
Oh yeah, it's Huggins. It's Huggins. But at least like.
But I think it's the fact that you can argue that.
I don't really know if you can argue that. I mean, West Virginia hasn't beaten anybody either.
No, but they've looked impressive.
They've looked better. The Pitt win was good. The Penn win was a blowout.
Yeah.
Even though Dingle didn't play, but they really frustrated a Penn team that really vastly out-rebounded them.
Mm-hmm.
44th in offense, 44th in defense for West Virginia. Overall.
Mm-hmm.
Other teams that you've maybe been impressed or not impressed by. Rutgers.
Haven't really seen much of them.
Rutgers has like a Missouri thing to them where they haven't played anybody.
And they lost to Temple.
Yeah, they did lose to Temple, but Temple's not bad.
Missouri is their first kind of real opponent this week.
Missouri doesn't have anybody. Let's be honest here. They
haven't played anybody. The best team they've played.
They play Wichita, but then they have it really hard as soon as December 10th comes.
Yeah,
Kansas, it's UCF, it's Illinois, Kentucky, Arkansas.
Yeah.
So they could, but again, put themselves in position to be in position.
They've won the games they should have.
What was Missouri at this time last year? Going into December, they were 4-3 with losses to UMKC, Florida State, and Wichita State. And then they lost to Liberty, and they got blown out by Kansas. They were 5-5, and they were quickly 11-20.
We play at Wichita State on Tuesday. I'll be there.
We haven't
talked
about Duke.
We have not talked about Duke.
That's your team. What has your thought process been around Duke?
We're winning games without our two best freshmen doing like anything. Like
Yeah, my problem with Duke so far
Whitehead and
is
Lively have legitimately not been good.
when is the Derek Whitehead breakout game coming? When is, because it's not just he hasn't been good, it's just he hasn't been playing. Sure,
I would.
he hasn't been good, but he's
I
also
would.
not been playing.
If you are waiting for this Derek Whitehead that we expected, you might not see him until January.
I feel like there's a chance we see him against Wake Forest on the road, December 20th.
That was a good win for us last year. That was actually a game that Shire coached.
That was Wake Forest home, I thought.
Huh?
That was Wake Forest home.
No, he coached. So Wake Forest home was the game that Coach K left at halftime because he wasn't feeling well. I forget when this was. This was earlier in the season. We played at Wake Forest on the road, and Coach K didn't coach. Period. Like we knew like a day before he wasn't coaching.
I don't remember that one bit.
And we killed him. And
76-64.
Yeah, it was.
But you were up 20.
We were up 20. Yeah, Shire coached that entire game.
Yeah. Okay. Duke this year, 6-1. Big game today.
If they win today, we can have a conversation about them being ahead of schedule.
If they lose today,
it's fine. I'll be fine with it. We wait to our freshman.
Because let's say again, North Carolina is obviously the rival here. That's what Duke's always eternally going to get compared to.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have the leg up whether they win or lose today.
They should, yeah.
Because Carolina's going to lose.
We would hope. But I haven't been impressed with Whitehead's not ready.
So, I want to hear some rankings.
Ooh, I don't have these in front of me.
Before we go, we have to because I have to leave soon.
Yeah, I do too.
And I don't even know what my plan is because there's going to be rain. I don't know if it's worth it for me to go.
Yeah, I mean, I have a 6-hour drive back to school today.
So. I don't think I'm going to end up going to the game. I just don't think it's worth it for me today. Let me take a look at the weather. Yeah, because it's going to be bad rain all night, all afternoon. I just don't think it's possible for me to make it. It's just not going to be. It's just not a drive that I'm willing to do right now. So I'm not going to go. I'm going to email the Fordham people and tell them I can't make it, even though I would love to. I've been to 7 games so far this year. By the way, yesterday at St. John's.
Terrible. I saw your tweet.
I would be a message for SIDs out there. If you use that sports systems thing to collect credential applications, can you please make sure that it sends an email when you get your credential? Because I went to that game and I heard that the system was broken. I heard it was broken. So I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming St. John's. It happens. But if it is broken, make sure that you're sending emails, because I think we as a collective deserve to know this, especially for first-time people like me. And all right, another thing. Before we get into this, is the U.S. going to qualify?
Yeah.
You were going to beat Iran?
Yeah.
I'm with you there. We're going to beat
Granted,
Iran.
I know nothing about soccer, and I have not watched Iran play, but we looked good against England.
We looked good, but we still couldn't finish. Anyway, let's do top 5 teams in each conference.
Okay.
ACC. And I'm going to write this down. Top 5 teams.
All right, tell me when you're ready.
In each conference as of 11/27. Actually, let's check scores right now because I know there's games going on. Or at least I think there's games going on.
Yeah, there's an ESPN events game going on.
And that's Siena, I believe.
Oh, jeez.
No, it's Stanford-Memphis.
Okay, good.
And Memphis is winning by 7.
Sounds about right. Haas is going to get fired.
Yeah, he deserves to.
All right, 5 best teams in the ACC.
ACC, let's go.
1
ACC,
Virginia,
1 Virginia, 2
2
Duke,
Duke,
3 North
3
Carolina.
North Carolina, 4 Miami,
Reluctantly North Carolina. Because
4 Miami, and then
yeah, Miami,
I'm gonna throw a surprise one at you. 5 North Carolina State.
NC State.
Was very impressed by them in Atlantis.
I think honestly, I feel like I might have NC. So like just based on what I've seen so far.
Yeah, no, this is not based on anything else.
Yeah, this is just based on what I've seen so far. Virginia 1, Duke 2, a reluctant 3 for North Carolina, NC State 4.
And then who you're putting 5?
Virginia
Virginia
Tech.
Tech or Miami? Like that's your
Virginia
option. Okay.
Miami, I just think
I've been a little more impressed with Miami than you.
Based solely on what we've seen. Next
Where
up,
we go next?
Big 10. Jonathan, what is your top 5 in the Big 10?
1 Purdue.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, 1 Purdue.
Okay.
2 Illinois.
Illinois,
3 Indiana.
Indiana,
4 Michigan State.
Michigan State. Okay. Come on, you got it. You got to say it.
5 Maryland.
Yes, thank you. I feel like the Big 10 is hard because there's a lot of teams that are in the same.
I was thinking about putting Wisconsin in there too.
There's a lot of teams in the same tier.
Yeah.
Number 1, I'm going with Illinois.
Like literally, I'm looking at it right now.
Actually, no, number 1, I'm going with Purdue.
Like
Number 2, I'm going with Illinois.
20 through 40 in KenPom is over half their league.
Number 3, I'm going with Maryland. In Indiana. Iowa or Michigan State? Michigan State.
Michigan State.
But I want to put Iowa in there too. So
That was
Purdue,
what-
Illinois. Purdue, Illinois, Indiana, Maryland, Michigan State.
Michigan State beat Oregon last night, right? Or 2 nights ago.
By 4.
They're not.
And
healthy.
that was without Akins and Hall.
Yeah, they're missing Malik and Jay
I
Akins.
just said that. Didn't Bill Walton say something about this is the best I've ever seen Jackson Kohler play? And
Yeah, and it was his first time seeing him play.
yeah, I hate Bill Walton so much. But Will Richardson dropped 28 in that game. I didn't even see that.
All right, what conference next?
Big 12. Let's actually rank the whole Big 12.
Okay, that's fine.
All right.
Ready?
Yes.
1 Texas,
Okay.
2 Baylor,
Okay.
3 Kansas, I guess.
Yeah, a reluctant 3.
4 Iowa State,
Okay.
5 Texas Tech, 6 Kansas State, 7 Oklahoma, 8 TCU, 9 West Virginia, 10 Oklahoma State.
All right. So for me, 1 Texas, 2 Baylor, 3 Kansas, 4 Texas Tech, 5 Iowa State, 6 TCU, 7 Kansas State, 7 Oklahoma, 8 Kansas State, 9 West Virginia, 10 Oklahoma State. SEC.
Okay, this is gonna get interesting.
Yes,
Okay. 1 Arkansas,
Yep, absolutely.
2 Alabama,
Yep, I agree.
3 Tennessee,
Yep.
4 Mississippi State,
Interesting.
5 Missouri.
Okay, I think
They haven't been good at all.
I don't disagree with you. But I can't not have them in the top 5.
I'm not gonna argue with that, but like,
Oh wait, you're talking about Kentucky, not Auburn, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
Auburn. I didn't even think about.
Yeah, because like I was thinking of this and like I could could even see like I know Florida hasn't looked great, but like Missouri, Mississippi State, LSU, like Florida, those teams are all in the same tier to me.
Like,
all right, number 1, Arkansas. Number 2, Alabama. Number 3, Tennessee. I think we all agree on that.
yeah, those top 3 are unanimous.
Then I think it's a little difficult because I still haven't seen Mississippi State score.
But they're so good defensively.
I don't think there's a like. If I'm gonna have Mississippi State, I feel like I gotta have Auburn. Like,
here's the thing though, like, at least I know that like Mississippi State will run stuff.
I'm going to put Kentucky at 4.
That's fine.
I have to.
I like that Mississippi State and Missouri both have identities right now.
And Auburn doesn't, and that's probably why I'm gonna lean towards Mississippi State.
Yeah. Would you have Missouri above Florida right now? You probably have not watched Missouri play once.
No, I haven't.
I
mean, I haven't watched Missouri, and I've had no reason to watch Missouri yet.
Watch us on Tuesday.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to.
Oh.
Like, we'll figure it out.
Eventually,
I'll watch Missouri. But I'm going to
really fast, and our defense is very feast or famine.
Mississippi State is 5. Big East. What is your Big East rankings?
Big East. Well, 1 is UConn. It's not even close.
It's close. It's close.
2 Creighton.
Yep.
3 Xavier.
Yep. And I think that's the clear top 3, and that's the clear order. Aside from that, it's honestly been a very disappointing Big East.
4 Marquette.
Really?
Either them or St. John's.
Yeah, St. John's. It's got to be St. John's.
I haven't watched St. John's play. I've watched Marquette play.
I mean, I know it's not super impressive for St. John's, but they are 7-0.
Okay, I'll go 4 St. John's, 5 Marquette.
I can't put Marquette up there. I just can't. I'm gonna have
They lost a 3-point game to Mississippi State and a 5-point game to Purdue.
Yeah, but I can't.
Neither one of them were at home.
UConn, Creighton, Xavier, St. John's.
You're gonna put Seton Hall at 5.
I'm gonna put Seton Hall at 5. I know they have 2 losses, but the Memphis win was impressive, and their other 3 wins, even though they were against bad teams, I watched them, so I saw them, and they were impressive performances.
What do we have left? The Pac-12.
Pac-12, and then we're gonna do a mid-major top 20.
Okay. Arizona. Obviously.
Pac-12. Jonathan.
Tell me when you're ready.
Arizona. All right, go.
1 Arizona.
Wait, Cal's 0-7?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, they've actually played. Wait, they lost. Why did they play at UC San Diego?
They're about to be below Oregon State on KenPom, by the way.
What is happening? Why did they do that? All right, keep going.
1 Arizona, 2 UCLA.
Yep, that's hard to say because like UCLA hasn't looked great either. I feel like we say this every year, but God, the Pac-12 sucks.
It's terrible.
Is this a worse Pac? Like, is this the worst Pac-12?
Yeah.
Like, who's even the 3rd best team? Arizona State?
Colorado.
Sure?
It's Colorado.
Are we sure?
Yeah.
Are we sure they're better than ASU?
They're going to do this the entire year and be a bubble team.
Is that not what ASU is going to be?
They're okay.
ASU demolished Michigan.
I put ASU at 4.
In a game that was basically at Michigan. It's at the Barclays Center, but Michigan has the crowd wherever they go.
I put ASU at 4.
Yeah, ASU 4. And then
5 USC.
Give me number 1, Arizona. Number 2, UCLA. Number 3, Arizona State. Number 4, Colorado. Number 5. Can I even do USC? Like, they lost. Like, they didn't look
Only
great.
3 losses. They lost to Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah, I know, but like Washington State doesn't have any good wins.
I will be right back. I gotta go grab my computer charger for our
Stanford looks
major
real
one.
bad. Utah, not terrible, but they lost to Sam Houston State, so I guess. I mean, Washington, maybe. Honestly, it might have to be Washington. Washington versus USC. USC. Yeah, USC. All right. Mid-major top 20. All right. So I ended up. You there? Can you hear me? All right, he's not there. He can't hear me.
All right. What did you end up putting for the Pac-12?
I ended up doing Arizona, UCLA, ASU, Colorado, USC. I was very close to doing Washington at 5.
That's fine. Their efficiency margins are terrible.
Mid-major top 20.
Is this going to include everyone that isn't?
It does not include Gonzaga. It does not include Houston.
So we're just not ranking those teams
because they're not mid-major programs.
That's
it
fine.
does not include teams that are moving to power conferences. So it does not include Cincinnati, BYU, UCF, Houston.
Okay.
And it does not include Gonzaga either because they just don't operate as a mid-major.
That's fair.
All right. So who's your number one? Because I think we should do this one by one because we have to talk about it.
Number one, if we're not including those teams, St. Mary's.
San Diego State?
Oh, that's true. I consider them a team that's moving to the better conference.
They're not.
They're going to move to Pac-12.
But
they will.
They haven't.
They're going to.
They're going to, but nothing.
Gonzaga hasn't either.
Yeah, but Gonzaga doesn't operate as a mid-major program the way San Diego State doesn't really either. But like San
Diego State does not operate as mid-major.
But I feel like they are. Should we include San Diego State or no? I feel like we should.
I feel like we should just rank every team that isn't a high major.
Fine. Houston, Gonzaga. Houston, Gonzaga, 1 and 2.
Yeah, and then I think 3, 4 San Diego State, St. Mary's.
I think I would agree with that. Let me type that in for both of us. Houston, Gonzaga, San Diego State, St. Mary's. All right, next up, number 5.
UAB. Over Memphis, yes.
Interesting. I'm just thinking, who else is there? Oh, SLU. SLU.
Yeah, but I think UAB is better than them right now.
No, I'm doing St. Louis.
Okay. I'll go 6 St. Louis.
All right.
7 Memphis.
Hold on. I need to think about who 6 is going to be because I'm not 100% sure that it's UAB. This is going to take me a decent amount of time.
I'm going to write mine down so I have it. Just because we're ranking 20 teams. Sam is deep in thought.
UAB.
Okay.
Memphis. Sam Houston State.
I have Sam Houston State at 10.
Who do you have at 7?
Memphis.
Who do you have at 8?
North Texas.
Who do you have at 9?
Furman.
Okay. And 10?
Sam Houston State.
All right.
11 for me is Utah.
Hold on. I'm not done. I've done my top 8 so far. And let me put
Oh, I forgot about a team.
who?
Put at 8 for me, UNLV.
Interesting. What's their record? They're 7-0. I haven't even noticed it. So yeah, I'm actually gonna put them at 7. Where did you have them?
8.
Yeah, I have them above Memphis. You have them below Memphis. I think I'm gonna go with Drake at 10,
Okay.
North Texas at 11, Furman at 12, Utah State at 13,
Okay.
Dayton at 14.
Is Dayton in this still?
Yeah, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
James Madison, I don't know. Yale, maybe New Mexico, Towson. I know Fairfield beat Towson. This list is gonna come out really bad. I already know because I can't even think about it. You know?
Yeah. I'm like kind of done.
I feel like there's so many teams that I'm not ranking.
A lot of this is just like me writing down teams though.
Yeah, let's scrap this. Let's scrap the whole thing.
Yeah, I had 18 teams written down, but none of it felt very accurate.
Let's talk about low majors that you've been impressed by.
Well, Sam Houston State's the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah, I can't even remember what league they're in.
They're in the WAC, aren't they?
Yeah, they're in the WAC. That's kind of like that straddles the line between low major and mid major.
They play Nevada tomorrow.
Yeah, like a low major. I mean, like Bryant.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Have they been the best low major?
They beat Syracuse yesterday.
No, the Big West. Actually, the Big West isn't that bad.
UC Davis lost a really bad game the other day.
Who did they lose to?
They lost to somebody. Milwaukee.
I thought you were going to say like they lost to like a D2 team.
No. UC Irvine's good though.
And so is Santa Barbara. And Hawaii's good. Hawaii's good. Hawaii is good.
We figured they were going to be good this year.
Yeah, and Hawaii and Yale. I mean, the Ivy League isn't a low major.
No, it is a legitimate mid major.
The Ivy League is so weird because like Yale's good, but Columbia looks better this year. I feel like they've competed in most of their games.
Yeah. I've been pretty impressed with Cornell.
I've been impressed with Columbia, even though they're 2-6. I've honestly been impressed with that whole league, except like Penn. But Penn took care of business in the games they should have won against Hartford and Colgate. Actually, Colgate, I'm not even sure if that's a game they should have won. They have Delaware today in the third game of that MTE. Penn's only losses right now are Iona, Mizzou. Iona, by the way, did you see what happened last night?
No. Who'd they play?
Santa Clara.
They win?
They lost. 86-76. Pajimski 27-9.
Jeez.
And that's obviously it's without Slazinski. Nelly was pretty brutal. But Clayton was great. He had 26 points, 6 of 6 from 3 in 33 minutes.
What are they, 5-2?
Iona?
Yeah.
2-2.
Only played 4 games.
Yeah, because they do Diamond Head.
Okay.
And they have this is the slate coming up Friday and Sunday. It's home against Niagara and Canisius on the MAC weekend. I'll be at the Canisius one. I won't be at the Niagara one. I'll be there on Tuesday the 6th when they play St. Louis. Then December 11th, I'll be there when they play St. Bonaventure at
Okay.
Barclays. Then they play Princeton in Keene, New Jersey. Sorry,
Mhm.
Union, New Jersey at Keene College. It's like I forget who they're memorializing
Jeez, why are they playing there?
because they're memorializing someone.
Oh, okay.
Then it's a tough game away at New Mexico,
Yeah, that's obviously Richard Pitino's
and
squad.
then they have Diamond Head in Hawaii, which
where they
is
open with SMU.
where they open with SMU, and they could play Seattle, Utah State, GW, Washington State, Pepperdine, and Hawaii.
So yeah, I guess the 4 games make sense for them. They're projected to go 16-4 in conference. You agree with that?
I think that makes sense.
I know you always talk about how the MAC is such a weird league schedule because they go Friday, Sunday, right?
Yeah, Friday, Sunday. Conference play starts this Thursday.
Yeah,
This
a lot of
Tuesday?
conferences are starting with a couple
Is it
early
this
games.
Tuesday or is it this Thursday? I think it's this Thursday.
Who did Iona lose to last year in the conference tournament?
Ryder, who has not looked good. If I had to give a stock down in the MAC, it's Ryder.
Interesting.
They are 1-4. Their only win is against a Division 2 or 3 team, and they got swept in Dublin by Stetson and Central Arkansas, 2 teams that both beat Niagara, that then both lost to Niagara.
Jeez.
So right now Niagara looks like they're better than Ryder.
Interesting.
I'm screw that. I got to do a MAC power ranking right now. Number 1 is Iona.
2 Siena?
No. Quinnipiac.
Yeah. Have they lost yet?
No. 3 is Siena. 4. Gonna still put Ryder. 5. I'm gonna go Fairfield, even though they're 1-5. They picked up a big win against Towson.
They're 1-5.
Yeah, they've played tough teams though. They do have 2 bad losses, but they have that. It was a really close loss to Mercer, and they lost to Xavier and Wake Forest, and they played well, and they've been kind of banged up. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. 6 Niagara. 7 I'll go with St. Peter's. 8 I'm gonna go Mount St. Actually, no, I'm gonna put Mount above St. Peter's.
I always love how that people like do not understand how like power rankings work.
It's because I feel like I can't put Ryder and Fairfield below 4 and 5. I just feel like I can't. 9 Canisius, 10 Manhattan, 11 Marist. Marist, man, they beat Bucknell in overtime. Congratulations. You still lost to UMass by double digits. Big game coming up for Marist. Marquee game for them. Columbia. It's 304 against 344. The win over Bucknell brought Marist's KenPom up 16 spots. That tells you everything wrong with that program. They play Maine, they play BU, and Columbia. And they're already 2-4. They should have breezed through this schedule.
Yeah.
They should have there's no reason they should be losing to Binghamton, Lehigh, and UMass. All right, and we're gonna end the stream there. Anything else that you want to say?
No, I'm about to go upstairs and watch some football before I leave. So
I haven't even thought about football. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, college football I still care about, but it's
Because
an
like
afterthought.
I mean, college football is just like it's. I feel like this week, like you get like Ohio State, Michigan, so everyone's talking about. But, like I'm not talking about the NFL right now. Like I'm just not.
Hmm.
Oh, Croatia could make it 4. They're into the box and right at Borjan. So it's still 3-1 in the 89th minute. Anyway, all right, we're gonna end the stream. Thank you
All
so
right.
much for watching. This was Brackets, Bubbles, and Bit Stealers Season 3, Episode 4.